This is circular measures, and this lesson is relevant for Cambridge O-levels additional math students as well as S-levels pure mathematics students. In this figure, I have labeled the parts of a circle. So you could see that this is called as a chord, a line joining the two ends of the circumference, which is not passing through the center. And this we can call as the diameter, which passes through the center, and half the length of diameter we call it as the radius. Also, any line which touches the circumference of the circle at one given point and which is existing outside the circle, we call it as a tangent. And we call this arc the minor arc, and we call this as the major arc. So when the minor arc and the major arc is separated with a chord, this is the minor segment and this is the major segment. This is the minor arc, this is the major arc. So when the minor arc is connected with the radius, you call this as the minor sector. You can see the difference between the minor segment and the minor sector. Minor sector is connected with the radius. Minor segment is connected with a chord. This is a circle. You know it has 360 degrees at a point. And if you want to find the length around the circle, we call it as the circumference. And we have to use the formula C equals to 2 pi r. C equals to 2 pi r gives you the length around the circle, which is called as the circumference. It is the curve length. Look at this figure. This is a minor sector. In this minor sector, there is an angle of 60 degrees. In this minor sector, there is an angle of 60 degrees. Now my requirement is to find the arc length from A to B. My requirement is for you to find the arc length from A to B. You know the length of a full circle is 2 pi r. The full circle here it's 2 pi r. But you need only a 60-degree portion. You want to know the length of the arc which is relevant for this 60 degrees. So what do? 2 pi r is a full circle. 60 over 360 is the fraction that you need. I simplify it taking the radius as 7 centimeters. This is the radius. I take it as 7 centimeters. So 2 pi value is 22 over 7. R is 7. And you don't need the entire length around the circle. What you need only the length, the arc length, which is relevant for 60 out of 360. So the value is then 7.33. The value is then 7.33. This 7.33 is the length from A to B. Look at this figure. You can see in this figure, the angle is measured in degrees and it is said as 60 degrees. Any angle you can either measure in degrees or you can measure it in radians. So degrees and radians are two measures that you can use to measure the size of the angle. You can see that they ask you to convert this 60 degrees into radians and to write it in terms of pi. So we are going to use the ratio method to convert the degrees into radians. We know that 360 degrees means 2 pi. Then 60 degrees means how many radians? So you can follow the ratio method. You know how to simplify two ratios. And then you can write the x value as pi by 3. So 60 degrees, you can write it in terms of radians as pi by 3. Now we want to find the arc length from A to B. Usually you use C equals 2 pi r multiplied by theta over 360. You use that formula if you're measuring the angle in terms of degrees. Now we are going to use the angle in terms of radians. So we use the formula S equals to r theta. Additional math students, you usually use the radians to measure the size of the angle. So the formula that you use instead of C equals 2 pi r into theta over 360 is S equals to r theta. But you have to be careful. S is the length from A to B. R is the radius, which is 7 centimeters. Theta, you cannot use the degree value, then it is wrong. You cannot use the degrees to measure the theta value in this formula. Then you have to mention the theta in terms of radians. So S equals to r theta is pi over 3. Now you can use the calculator and then get the length of the arc A to B is as 7.33. Here I will teach you how to convert the degrees into radians using few methods. You can use the ratio method, which always 360 degrees means 2 pi. Then 60 degrees means x of a radian value. You can use ratios and find x as pi by 3. Or you can use unitary method. That means 360 degrees is always equal to 2 pi. Unitary means, so 1 degree, what you do? 2 pi, you divide by 360. So you want to find out for 60 degrees, then 1 means 2 pi divided by 360. You multiply it by 60. So your answer is still pi by 3. Though you use the ratio method or you use the unitary method, you still get the same answer. Also, there's a shortcut. What do you do? They want you to convert 60 degrees into radians. You write it as 60 pi divided by 180. So your answer is pi by 3. You just write the degree value with a pi and you divide it by 180. So that's a shortcut. Another example, we want to convert 120 degrees into radians. We can follow the ratio method. It's 360 degrees 2 pi. Then 120 degrees is x of a radian. So what we do, we multiply the two numbers that are closer and the two numbers that are away, and we follow the ratios, and our answer is 2 pi over 3. So 120 degrees means 2 pi over 3. We follow the unitary method. 360 degrees means 2 pi. 1 degree means 2 pi divided by 360. 120 degrees means you multiply it by 120. You get the same answer. And you also can follow the shortcut. That is, you write 120 with a pi and you divide it by 180. You will get the answer directly. 2 pi over 3. Now we are going to change from radians to degrees. Okay, you can see in this circle it's given as 60 degrees, but I am going to write it as pi by 3. You know pi by 3 means it's given in radians. So this pi by 3 I am going to convert into degrees. So pi by 3 means it should be 60 degrees. How are we going to do this? Same ratio method. 360 degrees means 2 pi. X degrees means pi over 3. 360 degrees means 2 pi. You want to know how many degrees is pi by 3. So you can work it out and you can clearly see x is equal to 60 degrees. You have to simplify this correctly so you can clearly see x is equal to 60 degrees. You also can follow a shortcut. Now you know this pi means what? Pi means 180 degrees. Then 180 degrees divided by 3. If 2 pi is always 360 degrees, if 2 pi is always 360 degrees, pi means always 180 degrees. So you can directly take the pi value, that is 180 degrees, and you divide it by 3. You will get the answer as 60 degrees. So this is a small exercise. You are going to convert 2 pi by 3, which is in radians, into degrees. So what you do, you multiply 2. I said pi is 180 degrees, so you multiply 2 by 180 and divide by 3. So your answer is 120 degrees. Nextly, 5 pi by 9. What you do, you multiply 5 by 180, divide by 9, it's 100 degrees. 9 pi by 12, multiply 9 by 180, divide by 12, 135 degrees. And 4 pi by 3, multiply 4 by 180, divided by 3. So that's 240 degrees. We will continue with presentation 2. There I will discuss more questions with S equals to r theta.